In 1941, Bill Bowerman felt called to duty after the Pearl Harbor attack, joining the 10th Mountain Division where, with his regiment, he was able to survive the horrific tragedies of war. Returning to Oregon, Bowerman found triumph by impacting athletes, becoming an entrepreneur, and innovating running shoes through Nike, proving that out of tragedy should come triumph. On December 7, 1941, Japan bombed America's battle fleet stationed in Pearl Harbor, Oahu, Hawaii. At the time, Germany, Japan, and Italy were in an alliance known as the Axis powers. Germany was seeking dominion over the world. The United States was not complying with this objective, and after the attack on Pearl Harbor, they decided to declare war on the nation of Japan. On that day, December 7th, Bill Bowerman joined the Army, changing his life and others forever, a choice that rippled through history. Bowerman was born on February 19, 1911, in Portland, Oregon. He was born into a wealthy family since his father was the former governor of Oregon. Bill's mother was a homemaker raising his two older siblings, Dan and Beth. Unfortunately, in 1913, Bill's parents got a divorce because of his father's infidelity, which is very rare and frowned upon at the time. Later that year, Bill's twin brother Thomas passed away in an elevator accident, an event that Bowerman witnessed. While growing up, Bowerman went to Medford High School, where he met Barbara Young, who would become his future wife. After high school, Bowerman went to the University of Oregon, where he ran track and got his bachelor's degree. Bowerman's first job was as a teacher and a coach at Medford High School. On November 30th, 1939, Finland and the Soviet Union were at war, a conflict that would later be called the Winter War. Finland was at a decisive disadvantage because they had fewer men than the Soviet Union. Finland had recently created a new division of military, one comprised of ski troops. Because of Finland's new ski troop, they were able to defend themselves better than they expected against the Soviet Union. One man from America was very impressed and felt the United States needed ski troops as well. Charles Dole started to write letters about the importance of a ski troop division. He would send hundreds of letters to anyone who would make this achievable. The Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the Army Chief of Staff General George C. Marshall were just some of the recipients. The Army Chief received the letters and decided to do something about it. Marshall went and watched other countries' ski patrols to see if they would work for America. Marshall loved the idea and had a meeting with Dole about it. On November 15, 1941, the 87th Mountain Infantry of the 10th Mountain Division was formed. 2 weeks after the 10th Mountain Division was officially formed, the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. Bowerman was driving with his wife and heard about the attack and the U.S.'s subsequent declaration of war. He turned around and went to get his physical so he could enlist in war. He was eager and willing to help in any way he could.
Was in it. Were in favor of being in it. There was complete unanimity in feeling about the Second World War, and so people were glad to have participated both in Europe and in the Pacific.
Bowerman was put into the 86th Regiment of the 10th Mountain Division as a supply duty manager. Bowerman took a train to Camp Hale, Colorado, and arrived in February. He was recruited because he already knew the basics of skiing. One of the main aspects of training at Camp Hale was called the D Series. Here they would train in 6-week periods, above 13,000 feet, with 30 below temperatures without any permitted fires.
They trained year-round. In the summertime, they did things like rock climbing and learn how to scale cliffs at Camp Hale in the wintertime. It was even more intense because they were going out on maneuvers into the mountains and just trying to learn how to survive in harsh conditions.
The 86th was given a challenge in Italy to rid the Germans from the Apennine Mountains, starting with Mount Belvedere, which has the highest elevation. Bowerman did not get any fighting time during the first mission, but after saving a captured colonel, he was promoted to major of the 86th 1st Battalion. While Bowerman was a major towards the end of the war, a German messenger had been captured by the 10th Mountain Division. Bowerman found out that the Germans were considering surrender, and his new priority was to visit the German general. He took a few men as well as a German translator who was crucial to this entire event. Bowerman met the general, and after talking with him more, the general admitted that the Germans were without hope because of the United States' Air Force artillery and troops. He told Bowerman that they did not have the authority to surrender, but he had sent a messenger to headquarters to do such authority and was waiting for his return. Bowerman told him that he needed him to march his troops in orderly columns down the road by 10 the next morning, or else they will attack. The Germans did. Because the 86th had captured the messenger, Bowerman knew that they had no other choice. 3 weeks later, Hitler committed suicide, and the war was over. The total casualties of the 10th Mountain Division were 978 killed in action, 3,082 were wounded, and 28 were taken prisoner out of the 19,210 men that served. The 10th Mountain Division had one of the highest casualty rates in the Army. Spared knowing how blessed he'd been, he was ready to do right in the light that he had so amply defended. Bill Bowerman came out of the 10th Mountain Division with 1 Silver Star, 1 Good Conduct Medal, and 4 bronze medals, as well as a new hope for triumph, especially after coming out of a tragic event. After the 10th Mountain Division, Bowerman continued working at Medford High School and was promoted to head track coach. Bill Hayward, the head track coach at the University of Oregon, had also just announced that he would be retiring in 1947. The University of Oregon offered Bowerman the job, and he accepted and started in 1948. Bowerman's training for track was running intervals 2 to 3 times a week. On harder days, runners would do 10 to 15 miles or an hour of fartlek, which is alternating between fast segments and slow jogging segments, on a hilly golf course. The challenging days were separated by easy days, including 3 to 6 mile runs with stretching throughout, as well as form drills, lightweight lifting, pull-ups, and some swimming to allow the body to recover. All of that training added up to around 60 miles per week. Other coaches criticized Bowerman for having easy days in his runners' routines because they believed that the more you put in, the more you get out. But by this training technique, Bowerman won 4 NCAA team championships and coached 33 Olympians, as well as 16 sub-4-minute milers and finally 64 All-Americans. All of this because of his belief that all athletes are individuals, and all individuals learn differently. In 1972, Bowerman retired from coaching at Oregon at the age of 61. Throughout Bowerman's entire career, he was always annoyed by the weight of running equipment, especially running shoes. He eventually took lessons of how to make shoes from a local shoemaker and started to make custom shoes for his runners. A couple of the runners he made shoes for were Kenny Moore and Phil Knight. Knight, a half-miler, was the first to wear them in the 1950s. Knight and Bowerman started to work together to co-found an athletic shoe company called Blue Ribbon Sports, which later became the largest athletic company in the world, rebranded as Nike, which is Greek for victory. They worked together to make affordable, comfortable, and lightweight running shoes. One morning, Bowerman was talking to his wife while she was making breakfast. He was complaining about his dilemma with his shoe cobbling, and he suddenly came up with a brilliant idea and ran to his garage, coming back with a can of liquid rubber. He put it into the waffle maker, and when he took it out, he had a rubber sole with a waffle pattern, and thus became Nike's first shoe, the Waffle Trainer. Bowerman moved to Fossil, Oregon in the early 90s. On December 24, 1999, he passed away in his sleep at the age of 88. Bill Bowerman is a constant reminder to all people that out of tragedy, triumph is possible. Bowerman's legacy lives on through the 10th Mountain Division, his coaching career, and Nike. Bill Bowerman once said, "Everything you need is already inside." He proved that by surviving hardships in his life and persevering all by himself at times. Bill Bowerman lived his life ready to do right and shows everyone to push yourself, no matter what obstacles come by. He was the epitome of his company's motto, "Just do it."